Terry, what are we cooking today?
All right, we're going to do a little tongue-in-cheek. It's one of our
Nice.
dishes on our menu that seems to not be able to take off because everybody seems to enjoy it so much.
Yeah, great. So what ingredients are we working with?
So we're going to do a little beef cheek and then a little beef tongue. So the beef cheek, we kind of slow braise it a little bit. You know, we have a little bit right here. This is a nice, lovely cheek that we braise in some local chilies, some garlic, you know, and a little stock.
Smells great.
And then we have a little tomato gravy here. This is one way to kind of, or you get a lot of seconds of tomatoes, it's a good way to kind of utilize those seconds. You know, and when I mean seconds, I mean the product that most people don't want coming in the back of their door. They don't look as pretty and all that.
Right.
But instead of wasting them and throwing them into compost or throwing them to the hogs, you know, you kind of puree them and you make a nice little sauce out of it. So it's a tomato gravy for this dish. And then we have the beef tongue, and we're going to make like a little ragu with that.
Excellent.
All right, so we're going to add a little butter, a little garlic, some fresh shallots. We're going to get that thing going. Yeah, we're going to let that butter melt and get that garlic and those shallots toasted before we throw in our vegetables that came in this week.
Bringing vegetables in fresh from the farm, outside of just the fact that they taste so much better, there are huge health implications too with buying vegetables that, you know, we know were raised right down the road. Also the nutritional quality, because they haven't been on an airplane for 2 days,
Yeah.
or picked green and then gassed. There's so many advantages.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, they're not sprayed, you know, with pesticides. You know, they're grown with nutrients and soil. You know, and when you're buying local produce like that from local folks, you're reinvesting back into the soil, because the soil is what's giving the nutrients to the vegetables. You know,
Right.
and if if you have good soil that you're growing food with, you're going to get more nutrients out of your food.
Right. Yeah, that's a wonderful component of composting as well. I know that there's a lot of the things that come out of the restaurant also go back into the soil over there via composting. You know, that way you're reintroducing so many of the micronutrients that a plant needs to actually be healthy, instead of just the nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, synthetic fertilizers that are typically used in modern agriculture.
Yeah.
If you don't give the plant the adequate calcium, magnesium, of course, it doesn't pass through the vegetable onto the plate.
Right. You know, I find it very important. You know, one, when you're purchasing, you know, food that is grown locally, you know, and seasonally, you know, you're helping, you know, fix a food system that has been broken. You know, it's all you're growing from folks that are investing in soil. You know, they're investing in time and they're investing in growing food and having full circle instead of, you know, buying foods that have been processed. You know, I mean, all our foods, you go in the grocery store, everything is processed for us. They've made our food system has made it easy for us to cook at home and to eat. You know, they've taken out all the nutrients, they've taken out all the fun in cooking. You know, and it's reinvesting and fixing a broken food system.
So you just added a bunch of okra, and is that some squash you're cooking
So
in there
this
too?
is some okra from the farm that we got this past Monday. You know, the fun thing about this dish is we can kind of change with it as the seasons move on or the weeks move on. What's harvested, you know, like in the wintertime, this dish might have a potato puree, you know, with some kale or collard greens, you know. Well, now we have some fresh vegetables. We got some okra that was harvested this past Monday. We're just going to saute that just a little bit, and then we're going to add some of our beef tongue right here.
Nice. So Terry, what's coming up next? We're towards the end of summer now, and you're going to start seeing some of the cooler season crops coming on board. What do you guys have coming down the chute?
Potatoes, sweet potatoes. At the farm, there's a beautiful field of sweet potatoes. All the leaves are looking really great. You can actually bend down, eat a leaf, and it's really tasty. You know, you can do sauteed sweet potato greens. Potatoes are coming around. And you're gonna start getting a lot of the kale, collard greens. Yeah, a lot of exciting stuff. You know, it's really great to kind of cook through the seasons. So now we're gonna add some cherry tomatoes as well. We're gonna keep these raw, you know, to kind of give it a nice little pop in the dish.
It looks beautiful.
You know, and then a little of that juice in there to kind of have a little acidity.
That's great. It's just visually too. It's so
So
So colorful and vivid.
you want it bright, you know, you want a lot of flavors, you want acidity, you want crunch, you want umami, you know, and we just try to achieve all that with this dish, you know, and keep it fun. And you know, one of the things that we enjoy about this dish is also utilizing cuts that don't get utilized. You know, you have beef cheek, you have tongue. These aren't your typical items on your typical menu or
Right.
in your grocery store. But it is our way to kind of showcase a piece of the animal that doesn't get utilized, and it can be delicious. You know, and it's being sustainable by purchasing this from your farmer, because every cow has a cheek, every cow has a tongue. What happens if they're not selling those items? They're not gonna, they get thrown out, you know, or they, you know, that's not really sustainable for the farmer, you know. Um,
Right.
we get all our beef and tongue from White Oak Pastures in Bluffton, Georgia. You know, they take a lot of passion into growing their animals. From birth to slaughter, all the care is taken into that animal, you know, and I respect everything that they do with that. You know, they do it, you know, humanely.
So what's the preparation on the tongue? Is that braised before it goes
So
in, or
we pickle it for a week.
okay?
We do like kind of like a pastrami pickle, and then we smoke it in our smoker for about 9 hours.
Wow.
After that, we let it rest, and then we just do a nice little dice on it. So yeah, that's ready to go. We have our tomato puree right here. We're just going to kind of put that down.
So Terry, how do you work with the farm in putting together, planning the vegetables that you're going to grow? Is that an annual or semi-annual meeting that you have with
You know,
the growers?
You know, right before spring, we kind of sit down and we talk about seeds, what we're looking for. You know, what kind of varieties do we want? What are some of the things that other people aren't growing or stop growing? Are there some seeds that are heirlooms that we can bring back? You know, and kind of grow that haven't been grown for a couple of years. It's all really exciting. You know, it's exciting for the farmer. It's exciting for the chef. It's exciting for the cooks. It's exciting for the servers. It's exciting for the guests. It's exciting, you know, and that's what food should be. It should be exciting.